Happy Sunday to you. Today we are coming back around as we always do. Sometimes we get a little off track, go down some wormholes, some rabbit holes, but we're coming back to this. Do you remember this? Now you should know what all of these are. Every single resident was mailed out one of these some weeks ago. Every resident in the urban ward got one of these brochures in their utility bill. And folks in the rural ward, of course, who do not pay a utility bill, were mailed one of these directly. This was an initiative put together by these four entities: the Municipal District of St. Stephen, Downtown St. Stephen, Future St. Stephen, and the Chamber of Commerce. So I don't know if you looked at this and read it when you did receive it, but I want to talk about kind of completing our series today about the Chamber of Commerce, because this past week, by invite, the Chamber of Commerce hosted me and other candidates at a discussion about what it is, who they are, what they do. Now, of course, as a business owner myself, incorporated here in St. Stephen, running and growing my business since 2018, $750,000 of revenue, all that stuff, I have been and am a member of the Chamber of Commerce. So I have firsthand experience with all the good things that it does. Now, so thank you to Rebecca, the president of the Chamber of Commerce, and to Tara, the executive director, and Larry and Jackie, other executive members who were there, who hosted and shared all the benefits. So briefly, you should know, especially if you are a business owner or a nonprofit, you run a nonprofit, you need to know that you can have this resource available. It serves primarily members, but of course, like so many things in our municipality, even if you are not a member or specifically involved in the thing, when you have good people working together doing good things, it's like that rising tide, right? That lifts all boats. And so this is one of those important ingredients, like Downtown St. Stephen, the BIA, like the Future St. Stephen Economic Development arm of the Municipal District. And of course, if I am mayor, I will be working with council to steer the Municipal District Park, kind of the local government, in coordination with the other bodies that I'm mentioning here. But let me talk briefly about the Chamber of Commerce. So as of right, it's 75 years, I believe, in existence here in St. Stephen, Chamber of Commerce. And like I said, at this point, 175 businesses, nonprofits become members. So you pay an annual fee, and that gives you access to so many benefits. And again, some of those are financial. A lot of them is just kind of like the soft touch things, though, that are outlined in this really helpful brochure that was given out. And if you don't know exactly what the Chamber of Commerce does, here it is. First is education and professional development. So when you're a member of the Chamber, you have access to classes, lunch and learns, ways to inform yourself, grow your business, helpful tools, best practices, that kind of thing. Sometimes those are events, sometimes those are resources online, but that is definitely a membership because if you, like me, are a business owner, you know the learning never stops, right? There's always something to learn because the landscape of commerce is always shifting, what customer appetites are, what people expect, service, customer service, client service can always improve, etc. So the Chamber does provide that. The next is communication and networking. This is important for business owners, again, heads of nonprofits, to get together in our town, get to know each other, because the relationships and the conversations that are sparked by just people being in the same room are absolutely invaluable. You can't put a price on it when we're together sharing our common needs and goals. And sometimes you just, you need something for your business. You meet the person, but they maybe they can help you, or they know someone who does. So pooling resources like that, just from a networking perspective, really helps. Marketing. So and this happened to me when I became a new member. It was a way of being introduced to the community. There's kind of the welcome ads. There's also features in the weekly newsletter, which are very helpful to come out, part of that education piece, informing members of important things going on in the community. I know far too many of us kind of say, well, I didn't know that was happening, or I didn't know that was happening. Again, part of that is the communication piece that the municipality is responsible for, that I would like to see improve. When we depend on Facebook, a lot of people are not on Facebook, or then you're just at the mercy of whatever Mark Zuckerberg puts in your news feed, right? And so Tara, the executive director, puts together a really helpful weekly info email. Careful not to spam, but very relevant events and information that we should know. And so when you're a member, that's a very curated list of things that are happening in the community that you don't want to miss. So I really do appreciate that. And then marketing your business. In the newsletter, you can, there's a featured business every week. And so you get a blurb about what it is you do and how you serve our community and make this place a better place to live. There are financial savings. The Chamber of Commerce is a member of the Atlantic Chamber of Commerce and therefore has access to pool benefits, things like, insurance, there's classes, there's a chamber plan that you can look into for payroll services, anything like that. The chamber is really, can plug your business into saving because of group benefits and pool benefits like that. And you can check that out. I am going to put the link of the Chamber of Commerce in the description of this video if you're watching on YouTube and Facebook, Instagram, no links. But if you're watching on either of those, then you can just click and explore the Chamber of Commerce. And the other thing is advocacy. And this was part of the discussion that we had at the group. I want to talk more about that tomorrow when I kind of put my mayoral hat on and think about harmonizing and working together with these four groups, because I am hearing when we met with the meeting with the downtown BIA and with the chamber, and when I met with the president of Future St. Stephen, there is this sense that we can be working better in step together. So I want to talk about that tomorrow. But advocacy, when we put our voices together, we do have a stronger voice. I believe that always needs to be for the common good of everyone. I do believe that we can solve every problem without kind of zero-sum game, right? Winners and losers. We can always be compromising. We can always be making sure that our solutions are good for everyone. And that is what the Chamber of Commerce does really well. And again, more on that tomorrow, because we did talk about what advocacy looks like in the business community for St. Stephen. But I did want to say, as someone who sells courses, trains people all over the world, one of my courses, which is about becoming a professional wedding industry, a professional wedding member of the wedding industry, I get asked all the time by clients, how do I grow my business in my market? Maybe it's a crowded market. Maybe there's nobody else doing what I'm doing. How do I get a foothold? How do I get leverage? How do I get the word out? Well, guess what my answer is to them? A lot of it is pounding the pavement, contacting likewise businesses. But another key piece that I teach in my course is to join your local Chamber of Commerce for all the reasons that I just said. You're going to be offered events. You're going to be offered mixers. You're going to be offered lunchtime coffee and conversations. You're going to be offered lunch and learns. There's going to be such opportunity for networking. There's going to be free advertising as a member. So it is really a great investment in your business when you become a member of the Chamber of Commerce, and especially when the Chamber is working in step with other and in partnership with other organizations who are doing that together. So that is why I want to now kind of round up this brochure, because the front says 4 groups, 1 shared purpose. What is the shared purpose? It is to create a welcoming and connected and forward-looking community. And then it's very clear about the category. So downtown BIA, this is a roundup. They represent businesses and commercial property owners within the designated area of the downtown. You can see my video about that. It's governed by a volunteer board of directors with a paid executive director position, and it's funded by special commercial property, a tax levy within the BIA boundaries. Again, see my video about that. They lead beautification efforts within the BIA boundaries. They support and promote downtown businesses through events and marketing. They encourage entrepreneurship and small business growth, and they apply to grants to fund beautification and downtown development projects. I outlined all of the examples of that in the episode about the BIA. Then I talked about Future St. Stephen. That's the economic development and growth planning arm of the Municipal District, the local government here. They represent the municipality with a focus on growth for residents and businesses. I talked about Future St. Stephen and exactly the 5, 6 areas that they are always working to improve. They're governed by a volunteer board of community members and supported by 1 paid president position. There is part of our budgetary grant of our municipal budget, and they're funded by municipal contributions and grants, as I just said. They facilitate housing development, support newcomer retention, inclusive community growth. They expand the municipality's business park and infrastructure. They promote small business growth and tourism strategies. Now, the municipal district, of course, the government it represents all residents and businesses. It's governed by elected municipal council and the support of the one employee of staff, as we say, the CAO, and of course then all the staff under the CAO, and they're funded by public funds or tax funds. Now, what the municipal district oversees is the municipal water, sewer, and urban road management, of course, solid waste collection, fire, the Garcelon Civic Center, enforcement, lead by law enforcement and inspections, building inspections, and parks, playground, community events, and economic development. That's a very reduced vision of what the municipal district does. And then today, as I said, the Chamber of Commerce, they represent 175 plus businesses. If you're not a member, I would encourage you, and you're a business owner or nonprofit, join the Chamber. It is it will be a benefit to your business and to everyone else and to the entire community. It's governed by a volunteer board of directors with one paid executive director. Shout out to Tara. Funded by membership dues, partnerships, and sponsorships. I should say that when they run an event like the golf tournament and raise $10,000 through that, then they provide scholarships to local high school students to go on to post-secondary education. That's just an amazing way that the business community gives back there as well, and everybody who participates in these events. So what do? They advocate for member businesses. I'll talk a bit more about that tomorrow. They provide training and professional development, as I just said. They host networking and mixers. They promote business through advertising and shared marketing, and they offer exclusive savings and benefit programs. That, in a nutshell, is the people who are doing good work together to move our community forward from a business perspective. At the end of the day, friends, a municipality like ours is a community, right? And a community is a corporation here. This corporation that we run really needs people. We need people living here. We need people coming here. And a crucial ingredient to that is housing, which is why that's my number one focus. It's jobs, which is why this kind of effort is incredibly crucial. And then it is quality of life. And of course, what is quality of life? That is places, that is services, and that is infrastructure that we always need to be building up and delivering. And that is why our business community is a key piece to the kind of three-legged stool that keeps this a wonderful place to live. So shout out to all the business leaders, community leaders who are involved in these agencies, and hopefully you're more informed about them too. And tomorrow I'll talk about how the municipal government can coordinate to make how we walk in step even better for everyone who lives in our municipality. BuildUpSt.Stephen.ca, that's where you can find out more about my commitments, my priorities, my 5-step action governance plan. As I knock on doors, it is coming together, kind of I guess you could say the platform, what I want to do, hitting the ground running, but I continue to listen to residents, and I'll share more of that at Meet the Candidates, and of course, as I continue to make videos until Election Day. Take care of yourself today on this Sunday. Take care of your neighbor as we build up St. Stephen together. Cheers.